Hey guys, Jim here. I'm not gonna lie, I am extraordinarily excited for today to finally come. Now, today is very simply just an unboxing. Yesterday, I gave you a sneak peek. I gave you a very little kiss on the cheek, just to give you an idea of what I was gonna show you today. And today, I'm giving you a little tongue. Day after tomorrow, I'm going to give you the full Monty. I'm going to slip it all the way in. I'm going to give you the full review. Today is some foreplay. I'm going to show you the knife. I'm going to show you the action. We're going to take a nice, good, close look at it, but I'm still not going to show you 100% of everything. But you're going to walk away today getting a full idea of what the Avian Knives Atlas really is all about, and what the hype is that they've been building. I'll be honest with you, I like a little bit of hype every now and then. Not a huge fan of a lot of hype, but a little bit of hype is a little bit of fun. This knife is really super cool. Now, I want to start things off by saying that this is a prototype. It's a pre-production prototype. There are some things that will change, and I'll try to remember all of them. The packaging will be one. This is a really nice box, but it is going to change. Man, I'm just so excited to get into this. I've had the opportunity to play with this for a while now. I've had a chance to do a lot of photography on it. Avian, just some disclosure here. Avian's going to be using a lot of my photography. You'll be seeing a lot of that on their social media, which is really cool. I've had a lot of fun doing that. There's so much to get into here. What I will say is this. For the majority of people, this is just going to be a really awesome, really well-made knife that they're going to enjoy adding to their collection, and it's going to be something they're going to enjoy carrying. For the people that go that extra mile, that love to take their knives apart, they have this thing where they really like to break their knives apart and do thorough cleanings all the time, and they're big on maintenance. This will be a life-changing thing for them. This will be that innovation that they've been waiting for. And I don't use the term innovation lightly. And this is a knife where innovation wasn't made just for innovation's sake, or to be able to say, oh, we've innovated something. They've truly done some innovation here that was worthwhile. And for those of you that do like to take your knives apart for any reason, this is going to be a big deal. As a matter of fact, let's stop right here before I go further opening the package. Let me show you some of the photography I've done, and let me show you some of the reasons why that's going to be a big deal. So stop here for a second, and let's take a quick look. Okay, so now you get more of a sense of what I was talking about, right? Now let's get into the packaging. As we open the box, this is the first thing that you're going to be seeing. And I do suggest that you start following these. The website isn't ready just yet. I think the website's going to launch around Blade Show. But definitely follow their Instagram at Avian Knives. Is there anything on the back? No. Okay. This is on this particular knife itself. They're going to launch. The first small batch will be in Magna Cut. As it's been explained to me, after that, they're looking at M390. They are looking at other steels. But as we'll discuss with import things, with import issues, they're looking at other steels, but it's going to be what they're going to be able to deal with their import issues. But the first batch will be in Magna Cut. Then there's going to be this. There's so many cards. They like cards. You can pause this and read it later on. and then just a classy little presentation card. And then here is the knife. That is, are you ready? That is beautiful. Now, this is the first time anybody outside of the company is seeing this in action. You're the first. It's breathtaking. It really is a phenomenal action. It's fast. It's got the perfect detent. It's smooth as all hell. It is on skiff bearings. And it's exactly what they promised. It is extraordinarily lightweight. It feels solid. I almost cut the living hell out of myself. It's as strong, and I mean, it feels like any other frame lock that you would experience. It doesn't feel any different. You can't tell that it has this unique ADT system that allows you to disassemble the knife without using any tools. When you're trying to come out with something that's going to be in any way revolutionary, I think there's a formula really that you have to follow.
There's a formula to it. A very simple formula.
You've got to have great style, because style is what is going to attract people to your brand or to your knife, to your model. You've got to have the style. You've got to have that design. But it's got to be functional. Everything about this knife is functional. It's got to have purpose. I feel that they've designed this knife around the purpose that they've described. That it's lightweight, that it's easy to carry, that it's going to be great for everyday carry cutting tasks. It's not meant to be a big, giant, overbuilt knife. It's made to be an EDC knife. So it's slim, it's lightweight, we'll weigh it here in a second. It's easy to carry, it's a great flipper. It's small, but it's not tiny. We'll do some size comparisons here in a second. It does everything it needs to do. Now, I'm not going to take it apart today. Day after tomorrow, when I upload the full review, I'm going to break it down live on video to show you how easy it is. Very quickly, I'm going to show you their animation to show you how it works, to give you, again, that little kiss, that little idea of what's to come. I know, right? Holy shitballs. That's exciting. How cool is that? There's no tools. No tools required. There's no screws to unscrew. There's nothing. You don't do a damn thing. How cool is that, man? That's what excites me, is stuff like this. What looks like just really cool design elements are actually locking this knife together. And it just looks like this futuristic design. But every component, every design feature is actually an element that works together to lock this thing together. It's friggin' crazy, man. It's like I'm almost speechless. It's wild. All right, let's get to some size comparisons and the weight comparisons, just to start showing you what we're talking about here. All right, I want to bring out the most fair comparisons I can. So I'm going to bring out my JK Knives Dwarf, which I've shown you in a lot of videos. It's one of my constant companions, one of my favorite custom knives. And it's very close to being the same price range. Obviously, the Dwarf is more expensive. I'm not going to talk price today. I'll save that for the full review. But the JK Knives Dwarf is more expensive. They're virtually identical in their length. Okay? The blade stock is virtually identical, but it's kept a little bit thicker down the entire length of the spine on the Atlas because you don't have that top swedge. It's kept beefier at the tip because of the way that Seth hand hollow grinds the Atlas. So you've got a very utilitarian, useful style blade. It feels a little more substantial in the hand because of the thickness, but the height of it, the width of it, is narrower. Now here's where I think it's going to get interesting. Whoops. The dwarf is 4 ounces on the nose. 2.5 ounces for the Atlas. These are knives that will virtually carry identical in the pocket. And that's 1.5 ounces lighter. And I feel that's going to be, it's going to feel like a tougher knife for cutting. Another knife that you guys know that I absolutely, truly love and adore. These are virtually identical in size, virtually identical in price. This is slimmer and sleeker, but very close in length, almost identical in length, right? And folded, they're going to be just about the same lengthwise in pocket, but that's going to take up a lot less room in the pocket, right? Atlas is slimmer, with a blade stock that's just about the same. Half the weight, 5 ounces to 2.5. So you're saying, well, what is going to compare? 2.6 ounces, and that is on a Synapse Mini, a significantly smaller knife that you may find to be significantly more limited in its capabilities for EDC cutting. Still a fantastic knife, certainly not going to knock it. I love it. But that gives you some real world comparisons. Oh. You want to hear how that sounds? Let me put this right next to the microphone. You ready? Wonderful sound at lockup. So that's your quick look. That's the unboxing. That's the quick little look. We give you some close-ups here. I think that's only fair after all the time that we have been teased on this knife. Look at that pocket clip. Look how cool that looks. Look how integrated that is into the design of the knife. How perfect that is. And by the way, perfect retention in the pocket. It goes over the seam of a jeans pocket perfectly easily. Clips in nicely. It follows the lines and the design of the knife perfectly. What looks like it should be a screw is not a screw. See if I can get the camera to focus a little better. The design elements just look fantastic. The finishes contrast really, really well. Love all the bevels. Look how futuristic it looks. Design-wise, it's a 10 out of 10 for me. Features, fantastic. Skiff bearings. Ceramic detent. Nice, sharp detent. By the way, in case I haven't mentioned it, the blade self-aligns when you reassemble the knife. So there's no messing around with when you take your knife apart and you put it back together with 1 or 2 tools. You don't need any tools for one. And number 2, there's no worrying about thread locker because you're not disassembling a pivot, so you don't have to worry about that. Number 3, there's no worrying about centering the blade again because the blade self-aligns when you put the knife back together. Once you've locked it closed, the blade self-aligns. There's no guesswork. It does everything on its own. That low profile flipper tab, it's got the jimping on there. Focus. Focus. There we go. Now again, this is a prototype, so some things are going to be slightly altered. Stuff that you're not really going to catch on camera here. There's just little tiny little things that are going to change on it. The way the locking tab back here locks up, it's going to lock up a little bit differently, Seth told me. There was a little bit of play in the detent, which I really don't notice all that much. But there was a little, you see, there's a little tiny bit that's going to be taken care of. What makes this special is the fact that these are a semi-custom. All the parts are cut in Thailand. There's nothing China anywhere about this at all. Seth Taylor, GDS Knives, Seth Taylor designed this knife. All the parts are cut in Thailand where his partner for Avian Knives lives. All the parts are cut on CNC in Thailand, and then everything is sent to Seth's shop here in the U.S. in Tennessee. From there, everything is done in Seth's shop, 100%. He hollow grinds these by hand. Everything is done in his shop. The detent is set. All the parts are cleaned up. Everything is hand fitted. Everything is done there. The lock is set. The detent is set. Everything is tuned. Everything is finished. Everything is done there. All the edges are applied. I think I mentioned they're hand hollow ground. Everything is done there in his shop. So it's a very slow process. So by that nature, there's not going to be a lot of these made. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and don't quote me on this, I think they said there's only going to be 30 of the debut models in Magna Cut that are going to be made available. And that's going to be right around Blade Show or at Blade Show. Again, don't hold me to that. So that's it. The very first availability is about 30 knives because it's all handwork. Again, the raw parts, the raw materials are being cut by machine in Thailand and sent to Seth. That's the way all the knives will forever be made. They're sent to his shop, then everything's done by hand. So everything's done in his shop, so it's a slow process. So you're buying a true semi-custom. You're not buying a production knife. You're not buying anything made in China. You know me, I'm not going to bash anything made in China. I'm just making that clear for those that are going to have that question. Nothing made in China. No parts, no manufacturing processes, nothing. So yes, these are not $200, $300, $400 knives. But then again, they're not $800, $900, $1,000 knives either. You're getting a very low-cost EDC alternative in a hand-assembled, in the USA, semi-custom knife. And we don't hear semi-custom very often, if at all these days. You hear custom or you hear production. Every now and then, you might hear mid-tech. But they're generally a fairly high production number, mid-tech. What you're getting here is a low production semi-custom. They're going to do a few different options for finishes. I know they're going to be offering some that have some cool anodizing colors coming through these 3 ports. They might be doing some with some anodizing options in the brighter colors that you're seeing here. I kind of like this monochromatic look with the dark and the light. That's just me. I don't know. I don't know what options that are going to be made available. I think they're going to be doing these 2-tone blades and then some vapor blasted blades and stuff like that. Nothing too, wild and crazy. But for right now, that's all the information I've got for you. In a day and a half, a day after tomorrow, I'll show you the full review and we'll talk some more about it. Until then, I'll see you guys. And I'm so excited. I can't wait to share it with you and and really take this thing apart and really have some fun with it. Thank you guys. I'll see you then.